A golden visa refers to a very specific thing. A golden ticket refers to something else. Golden passport, well, I guess that leaves some room for a bit of interpretation. And if your friend has been drinking, a bit of misinterpretation. So some of you probably already know what a golden visa is. Maybe you've heard it called a golden passport. Either way, though, it's vernacular for dual citizenship through investments. The idea is that certain countries have programs allowing you to apply for visas or for permanent residency if you've hit certain investment levels there. So Portugal, Spain, Italy, Cyprus, Greece are all really good examples of European countries with this kind of program. If you have $270,000 in real estate in Greece, you can apply for residency. For a little bit less than double that, you can apply for residency in Spain. Now, Portugal, they were a big one. They also had some really good tax laws, but they've shut down the real estate investment angle. They only have options through other investments now. So if you start a company employing 5 people there, you can apply for residency. Now, I'm no expert on any of this. I just know people who've been through the process, and we'll let you know about it after a few drinks. Now, this is not just a European thing. Canada, Australia, UAE, and really lots of other countries have similar programs. So does the United States. And now that I've introduced the idea of a golden passport, I should probably tell you that this video is less about applying for a foreign country visa and more about the metaphor. Before we get back to it, if you're looking for gold or silver, check out SD Bullion. New customers even get gold and silver for spot. It's sdbullion.com/new. So rewind a few weeks, I'm at an event. Some acquaintances are talking. As I'm coming into this, one of the guys is telling another that he's working on dual citizenship. Mentions a golden passport. And it's pretty clear what he's talking about because he has a new place in one of those countries I just mentioned. But another guy in this circle's clearly been drinking for a while. And he says, "Brother, you cashed in your golden ticket years ago." Now, this is funny because the storyteller married into some money. I don't know how else to put it. I can't tell if the comeback was a well-crafted burn to shut down a humble brag or if the liquor just had him misunderstanding metaphors. Now, either way, you can just see in his eyes, he's checked out of that conversation now, and he says, "I need $2,000 a month, and I'm good." Like, somehow that just kind of fit into the conversation. Now, I know that was a lot. I went from the idea of golden visas to the slang golden passports to a misunderstood metaphor golden ticket. And then there's a revelation that one of the guys here only needs $2,000 a month to live. Now, I don't know if that was where he's at today. That seems doubtful, because his property taxes alone would probably eat that up. Maybe he meant he was offering his services as a houseboy. I wasn't really sure. Now, here's how I'm going to bring this back. If you have a YouTube channel, you're typically thinking ahead for video ideas. And one I had in my head at the time was coming back to the idea of a start over fund. So what is the minimum expense that you might need if everything you had was gone all of a sudden? Or even just what would you need as a supplement if you lost your primary income source? Or I don't know, God forbid, what would you need on top of the free room and board that a typical houseboy would presumably receive? And then I guess, what might that possibly look like in another country? So where all this comes together is this idea that you need different amounts depending on where you live. The average household expense in the United States, for instance, is $3,693 a month for one person, $6,372 for a family of 2, $7,189 for a family of 3, $8,460 for a family of 4. And my start over fund that I've mentioned here before is 2 ounces of gold a month. Now you convert that to dollars without getting into the unnecessary argument of what a dollar is worth. That would be right around $4,800 a month. So not enough to cover the average expense of a family of 2 in the United States, but enough to cover the $2,000 a month needs of our intoxicated friend from the party. Now, a third of the average expense needs I just mentioned for life here in the United States goes to housing, by the way. So if your home is paid for, it might be less. If your home is large, you might need more than that for property taxes alone. There are lots of variables here. We're just looking at averages. Well, the average costs of living in Spain are 33% lower than living in the United States. So if you had a golden visa or you had permanent residence there, you could get by with $2,474 a month, and that's right around the value of an ounce of gold. Cyprus is 41% lower than the United States. Canada, Australia, they're both about 21% lower. If you go through enough what happens if mental exercises, eventually get to the idea of throwing some bags in an old truck and heading to Canada. Unless, of course, you're from Canada, then maybe you're looking at I don't know, New Zealand, Canadians can probably go anywhere. But lately, I think I'd probably go south anyway. No offense, Canada, you guys just don't like my hobbies, and this is just fun fiction anyway. Now, zooming in on the more likely case of possibly needing to supplement your income in the case of some kind of lost job, a health issue, or some kind of hyperinflation event that we hear about so often from the doomers, it just doesn't matter. Savings is savings, and I don't care what the case is, the plan is the same. Now, I decided I needed 3 ounces of gold to cover a possible emergency way back in 2008. But somewhere along the line, that grew to 1 ounce a month for a year. And then today, with a family of 4 living in the great United States, I wanted 2 ounces a month for 2 years. And maybe a gassed up Wagoneer able to make it to the Mayan Riviera. So I've mentioned that plan before. 1/4 ounce a month adds up to 3 ounces a year. So I had my ounce a month for a year goal knocked out in 3 years of scheduled buying because I already had 3 ounces. 48 ounces gets rounded to 50 for me, and that's a tube of American Gold Eagles, a tube of Gold Buffaloes, and a tube of Gold Maple Leafs. The Royal Canadian Mint takes it easy on us. Their mint tubes hold 10. Now, 50 ounces of gold is a lot. If you're just getting started, it's going to seem like a ridiculous number to shoot for, but 8 years of buying a 1/4 ounce of gold each month gets you to 24 ounces. 16 years gets you to 48. And if you're in this for the long haul, 16 years goes by faster than I'd like to admit. And that's how long I've been doing that. The way that it worked for me was to set goals that I could hit. So 3 ounces and then 9 more. That got me to 12. Then I was looking at 24. And then I was looking at 48. I actually called it 50. It adds up surprisingly fast. Time flies when you're having fun. Now, as for crossing borders, resettling in Zihuatanejo or the Canadian wilderness might seem fun. Having a golden visa to Spain might be impressive at parties, but the real golden passport or golden ticket or whatever we want to call it is to get that start over fund in place. It gives you a lot of options, and if you plan it right, you get there without giving much up or having to learn a foreign language. And let's call it good there. I'd love to see some plans in the comments. If you have certain amounts that you shoot for, let us know. Or if you've been through the application process for dual citizenship, I think that's really interesting. Golden visas, same thing. Let us know. And then while you're in the comments, be sure to hit that like button if you found any of this interesting. Be sure you're subscribed with notifications turned on if you want to hear more on the topic. And if you're still here, thanks again for watching. I always appreciate your time. Take care.